Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
The air around this franchise feels different today, and you can sense it even before the rumors hit your screen, because when a team starts making moves in silence, that is usually when the most important decisions are being shaped. Hello Jays Nation, and welcome back, because this is not just another update. This is one of those moments where the present and the future of the Toronto Blue Jays are quietly negotiating with each other behind closed doors. 5 major stories are circulating right now, and none of them exist in isolation. They intertwine, they lean on one another, and together they tell us exactly how aggressive this front office really is. So stay with me until the end, because context matters here, and before we go any further, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report, because this channel is built for fans who want the full picture, not just the headline. Toronto's front office has made one thing abundantly clear without ever saying it outright. This team believes its championship window is open, and it has no intention of tiptoeing around that fact. The confidence is quiet, almost restrained, but it is there in every conversation leaking out of the organization. After a strong postseason run, the message to the rest of the league was simple. The Blue Jays are not satisfied. And when a team reaches that stage, the area they always return to is pitching, because October is unforgiving to anything less than elite arms. Behind the scenes, Toronto has intensified its search for high-end starting pitching, but not the short-term kind that fades as quickly as it arrives. The priority is young, dominant arms with team control, pitchers who can anchor a rotation not just for one run, but for several. 2 names continue to surface in these discussions, and neither is accidental. Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals and Joe Ryan of the Minnesota Twins are both being monitored closely, and each represents a slightly different vision of how this rotation could evolve. Gore is the kind of pitcher who makes front offices lean forward in their chairs. A left-hander with electric stuff, swing and miss ability, and a strikeout profile that immediately translates to playoff baseball. Last season, his numbers confirmed what scouts have long believed, that when he is locked in, he can dominate lineups and tilt a series. Add in the fact that he remains under team control for 2 more years, and suddenly you are looking at a potential long-term solution, not a rental. For Toronto, that combination of upside and control is exactly the sweet spot. Joe Ryan, on the other hand, represents something just as valuable, if not as loud. Consistency. Command. Reliability. He is not the pitcher who overwhelms you with chaos, but the one who quietly dismantles opponents by limiting base runners and refusing to unravel under pressure. His strong ERA and elite whip paint the picture of a starter who can be trusted in big moments, even when his stuff is not at its absolute peak. In long playoff series, that kind of dependability becomes priceless, and the Blue Jays know it. What ties both of these targets together is strategy. Toronto is not chasing aging veterans on expensive, restrictive contracts. It is prioritizing immediate impact, medium-term security, and financial flexibility. This is not recklessness. It is calculated ambition, and it tells us that the front office believes the roster is close, but not complete. While the rotation dominates the headlines internally, another area of the roster is quietly being repositioned as leverage rather than surplus. The outfield depth, once viewed as a potential problem, is now being treated as a weapon. The Blue Jays understand that not everyone can play every day, and rather than letting that reality create frustration, they are exploring how to turn it into opportunity. Nathan Lukes, Joey Loperfido, and Miles Straw are the names most often mentioned in these conversations. Lukes has carved out a reputation as a dependable contributor, capable of playing all 3 outfield positions and stepping in without disrupting the rhythm of the team. That same versatility makes him attractive to clubs searching for immediate depth. He is the sort of player managers trust, and general managers value. Loperfido might be the most intriguing of the group. Young, controllable, and still largely untapped, he made a strong impression in 2025 by hitting .333 in a limited sample. Yes, the sample was small, but baseball executives never ignore production, especially when it comes from a player who simply needs opportunity. His value on the market has risen sharply, and Toronto knows it. Then there is Miles Straw, the most delicate case of all. Offensively limited, yes, but internally respected as a quiet leader and an elite defender. His presence in the clubhouse matters, especially after the departure of other veterans. Sources suggest the organization is acutely aware that moving him would have cultural consequences. And yet, his salary and defensive reputation keep his name in trade talks, particularly if the return addresses a critical need. The underlying goal here is clear. Convert outfield depth into bullpen strength. A reliable reliever can change the complexion of an entire season, and using surplus to reinforce that area is one of the most efficient roster adjustments a contender can make. It is not glamorous, but it is effective. And then we arrive at one of the most tempting names on the entire market, Stephen Kwan of the Cleveland Guardians. If you were to design a player specifically for what the Blue Jays lack at times, you might end up with someone remarkably similar. Elite defense. Disciplined at-bats. Relentless contact. Kwan's game is built on intelligence rather than force, and that balance could elevate Toronto's lineup in subtle but meaningful ways. Defensively, his resume speaks for itself. 4 consecutive Gold Gloves do not happen by accident. He covers ground effortlessly, makes the difficult look routine, and brings a level of reliability that managers dream of in tight games. Offensively, his ability to put the ball in play and avoid prolonged strikeout stretches would add a different rhythm to Toronto's attack, one that pressures pitchers constantly rather than waiting for mistakes. But all of that comes at a cost, and it is not a small one. Kwan is under team control through 2027, and Cleveland does not part with players like that without a significant return. Any serious discussion would begin with at least one elite prospect, and for Toronto, that creates a genuine dilemma. Do you sacrifice part of the future to maximize the present, or do you protect the pipeline and risk falling just short? That tension is echoed again in another name that refuses to leave the rumor mill, Jose Berrios. Internally, his situation is complicated. Being shifted to the bullpen during the World Series did not sit well with a pitcher who has built his career as a rotation staple. Frustration is a natural response, and it has not gone unnoticed. Externally, his value remains strong. Around the league, Berrios is still viewed as durable, reliable, and capable of stabilizing a rotation. His contract is substantial, but the opt-out after 2026 adds flexibility that appeals to multiple types of teams. With Toronto's rotation growing increasingly crowded, his name continues to surface as a logical trade piece, whether to relieve payroll pressure or address other areas of need. Publicly, the message is calm and reassuring, but privately, these conversations are very real. And finally, we reach the decision that looms over everything else like a storm cloud waiting for the right moment to break. Bo Bichette. This is the move, or non-move, that could define the franchise. Without a long-term extension in place and free agency inching closer, every passing week amplifies the pressure. Bichette is not just an elite hitter with a batting average north of .300 and consistent run production. He is identity. He is continuity. He is the player fans associate with this era of Blue Jays baseball. Losing him would create an enormous void, not just statistically, but emotionally. And yet, the risk of waiting too long is undeniable. Allowing a player of this caliber to walk away without return would be a bitter pill to swallow for any front office trying to balance ambition with sustainability. That reality keeps the door to a trade ajar, even if only slightly, and the thought of seeing him in a rival's uniform is enough to keep executives awake at night. So here we are, Jays Nation. 5 stories, 5 pressure points, and one off-season that could reshape the Toronto Blue Jays for years. Now it's your turn. Which move feels right to you? Would you pay the price for Stephen Kwan? Who fits better in this rotation, Gore or Ryan? And is Bo Bichette truly untouchable, or does everything hinge on the contract? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this community thrives on conversation. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, share it, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report so you never miss what comes next. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Jays go!